Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKadosh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, or the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risk their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalia, and this video is about the mark of the beast prophecy, which is a microchip. Alright, so the brother JMS News Amath posted this video. Digital ID is closer. And why is the digital ID important? Because, well, it is a part of the system of the mark of the beast, which is that microchip. It is a stepping stone. All right, the microchip itself is a digital device that is inserted into the body, and the way that that digital device works, that microchip, is that it has all of your data and personal information and medical information and financial information and everything attached to it on that one digital device. So it is, an all-for-one use device. So knowing that the mark of the beast is a microchip, we then look at what is going on in the world and the systems being implemented. And we know the prophecy is going to become mandatory worldwide. So the people that are in rulership, who are the so-called white men, who are the Edomites, right? They're building a system to facilitate the microchip on that mandatory and global scale for when they implement it. So it's a big undertaking. They have to transform the systems, like the monetary system, and then they're transforming the other systems to go all digital. All right, the medical industry is going digital. Other industries are going digital. Trump, earlier this year, he signed that into law, right? Or something like that. The transformation of the medical industry going digital, right? He promoted the, $500 billion artificial intelligence improvement of infrastructure in America, right? All of these systems, the 15-minute cities, the smart cities, which are the transformation of these cities towards a completely technologically driven city by way of AI. All of these systems are being implemented, right? The central bank digital currencies, which is about the transformation of the monetary system, getting rid of the cash to move towards a cashless society where digital payments are being made. And the main form, the number one form of making that digital payment will be by way of that microchip when it is made mandatory worldwide. This is what is at hand. All right. So we know what's up. All right. And so the focus on the digital ID is because, well, the digital ID is consolidating all of your information into one place. We know how the microchip works. We know the ins and outs of it, right? So the digital ID is consolidating all of your information into one place, your biometric information and everything, right? And then when you do research on the biometric microchip, you can see the exact same parallel regarding, everything being stored into one place and then it being used for whatever purpose, right? So the digital ID is that stepping stone of consolidating all of your information into one place. And the image I have up here, this is what has been proposed by the World Economic Forum and is now being implemented all around the world, because it's a one world order. This is Esau's new world order. All right, a one world government, a one world order, a one world currency, all these kinds of things. Okay, so we're in the midst of it. And as we're in the midst of it, and all of the signs are there regarding the end of their kingdom, the kingdom of the Edomites, this prophecy is becoming more spoken about, right? In whichever kind of way, whether it is directly speaking about the microchip or that, the systems, to support the backbone of it, right? The systems are being spoken about more. The central bank digital currencies, the digital IDs, the fourth industrial revolution, the intelligence age, all of these things, man, it's becoming more prominent in the world as a topic of discussion. And that's because we are truly very close to the prophecy of the mark of the beast. So here it is.
Michael Schellenberger has been digging into the digital ID issue. He just released a lengthy piece on this on his Substack called Public. He joins us now with his thoughts. Michael, look, the argument is it's like it'll help thwart illegal immigration, ID fraud, streamline healthcare services. Sounds fantastic. What the heck's the problem?
Right. Hey, great to be with you, Laura. Yeah, I mean, another conspiracy theory.
So notice this. First, she mentions the reasoning and the positives as to why they're doing this. Then
That has started coming true. I mean, we saw this announcement in September. It took everybody by surprise. The World Economic Forum had been pushing digital IDs, the United Nations, the European Union, Britain. Of course, the really terrifying example is China, which uses digital IDs and a social credit score to control speech and to control what people think and
so they're letting you know what is heading to America and the rest of the world. China has been a kind of what do they call it? Testing ground, right, for the system that they'll be bringing to the rest of the world. And it makes sense, right, to test these things where the population is one of the largest in the world, right? China is number 2 and India is number 1. But also, to speak on India, India has been accelerating very quickly for all of these years, you know, that I've been watching and observing. India has had a very heavy focus on the transformation of its system with the Aadhaar system, which is their digital ID, right? That's been out. And then the digital rupee, right? So they have been moving very swiftly, right? China has a whole social credit system where, you know, that is the model that will be hitting the rest of the world. And China's also extremely developed. You know, the East over there, those Eastern Asian countries, right? They're very, very developed regarding, you know, the smart cities and the 15-minute cities. All right. In China, you know, in the park, I saw it on the YouTube. There's a park there, you know, and it's driven by technology, and they have a kiosk there which does drone deliveries. I ain't never heard about nothing like that in America. All right.
stay online. I mean, it could come in a lot of different ways. They'll start
And to make it clear, people go to the kiosk, they order the food, and then the drone drops it off at the kiosk.
voluntary, then they'll make it mandatory. They'll have rewards, and then they'll have punishments. It's quite terrifying. And when you just listen to what the advocates for digital IDs say, it's terrifying. And, you know, Laura, one thing I learned from this last round of investigations is that this is a huge cybersecurity threat. The idea that, I mean, imagine if you get hacked in one of the many websites that you log into. Imagine everything suddenly being hacked because it's all centralized in a single place. That cybersecurity threat alone ought to be...
Right. So they're going to solve that by inserting it into the body, right? The microchip, they'll solve it in that type of way, because then how can it be hacked? Which database would people be accessing to hack it? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, make note that this is on Fox News, by the way. And at first, you know, they brought it in a positive light, but then they brought it in a negative light. So this is very interesting because we know that Esau is in rulership, right? In Job chapter 9 and verse 24, it says that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. We know that Esau's in his blessing. He controls this media, you know, the currency, all of it, right? But here, he is selling it on one of his mainstream media with this whole fear-mongering thing, right? He's promoting it, he's doing it. And then you question, why would he be doing that? Well, this is because this is how they operate. This is what they do. They intentionally work on both sides. And this is a trait of theirs. All right. In Revelation chapter 13, right? It says, in Revelation 13 and verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So that beast That's America. All right. So it says that he had two horns like a lamb and he spake as a dragon. So this goes back because America's the rebirth of the Roman Empire. So America has taken on to those same ways, right? And in the Roman Empire, they had two different systems, right? I believe it's the plebeians and the patricians, but they controlled both sides of it while having the people separated and against one another. But them at the top, them at the head, they're in control of both of it and they know what they're doing. So it's the same thing that they're doing here. You know, in America you have the Republicans and the Democrats, which is both controlled by the wicked elite of Esau, Edom, right? But they have the people against one another, right? So it says he has two horns like a lamb because he comes like, you know, in sheep's clothing, but really he's a wolf. And the scripture says he spake as a dragon. So what he really is about is, you know, a very draconian rule. And so this kind of situation just speaks to their nature, where the digital ID is an important part of the system that they're bringing in, and they're going to bring it in regardless because it's a part of the system that is, you know, for the microchip, right, on that global scale. So they're going to do it anyway, but they're still selling a narrative to the open public, to the world, right, about, you know, basically fear-mongering this thing. But then we also must remember, right, and, you know, the scriptures say that we're not ignorant to Satan's devices, so we're privy to how he operates, okay? But then, remembering the NWO agenda of the population, right? They want to reduce the population to, what, 500 million? And so you can Google what the world's population is. It's a lot of people that they want to murder and get rid of. So for them, it's not about all of the people being willing to comply with the system that's coming in. They don't need that because they're getting rid of a lot of the people anyway, you know? So with knowing that, this controlled opposition that they're doing, right? Well, to call it that kind of way, you know, it is all intentional to continue to spark the tension among the people. The civil war, you know, that is brewing in America, and then just the tension that is happening around the rest of the world, you know, we're in those times. And in 2 Esdras chapter 15 and verse 14, it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." So they want people to be against it, and they want people to be for it. They want to and they control both sides of the narrative. So that's why in their mainstream media they're doing this, okay? Because why else would they be doing it? Because they want dissension to be among the people. They want chaos to be in the world, okay? And it says it in Revelation chapter 6 and verse 8, "And I looked, and behold, a pale horse," talking about Esau, Edom, "and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth," which is America, "to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth." And they, you know, they intentionally get the people riled up to then say, okay, well, you're doing this, so they're going to move in and they're going to establish certain kinds of measures and certain kinds of draconian rule. This is how they operate, man. All right, they catch you in their web. This is the wicked. All right, the scriptures say that in Psalms chapter 10 and verse 7, "His mouth is full of cursing and deceit, and fraud under his tongue is mischief and vanity." All right, so the word here, vanity, in the Hebrew, it goes into the word wickedness and sorrow and trouble. So that is what they do, man. They're full of deceit and bringing sorrow. Okay, so whatever kind of situation they want to do there, where they're promoting it but also attacking the system that they are bringing in, it's all a part of their trap, man. All right, and the people in the world will fall for it, but not the elect of the nation of Israel, all right, who cannot be fooled. All right, those of us of the hopeful elect, we can see straight through the deception and the lies, man. Okay, They intentionally want a portion of the population to be against the digital ID, so that when it is that it is brought in, there will be certain chaos and certain kinds of unrest among the people and whatever else. And then they will usher in whatever kind of measures that they feel is necessary, which, you know, is going to lead into martial law, because martial law is a part of the scriptures, going back to 2 Ezra 15 and verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and when people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, which is literally what's happening in Mexico and what has happened in various places around the world, and has happened in America too. So these things are going to continue to happen, and these are uproars of the people, which is a sign of the end, according to the scriptures. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So martial law is coming, right? So they intentionally create chaotic situations, and then they bring about a solution, and those solutions are never beneficial for the people. It is all about their agenda at hand. And so Jacob's trouble is also upon us. Okay, so that's what it is, man. This prophecy, this mark of the beast prophecy, it really is quite close, because they're speaking about, you know, these different systems, and they've already brought the microchip, the idea of it, onto the mainstream media before, right? But now we're in a certain time where it's very clear that, you know, we're accelerating to the end. And the scriptures say that the devil knoweth that he hath but a short time, so he's coming with great wrath, to paraphrase. So he's moving swiftly. Okay, all the signs are there, man. When it is that they are really starting to like bring it to the mainstream media, these certain topics, you know they're getting ready to make their move. So rejoice. With that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai by Shem Kodesh. Shalom.